Hey guys, I hope you all are doing well and keeping safe. So today I'm here to talk on a very interesting topic. It's one of my favorites as well as it is one of my coach's very favorite. And this is something, so basic, yet very few people are really able to understand this very simple concept in their lives. And if you're able to really understand this one very simple or basic fact, which I'm just about to tell you, I am telling you, you would be able to attain every goal that you set yourself out for. It's that simple and it's very much effective. When I started implementing this in my life, I really started to understand why I was behaving in a certain way before I understood this particular concept. And hence I've decided to call it abundant mindset tool number 10, and that is to avoid instant gratification. What is gratification? What is instant gratification? What is delayed gratification? Let me explain it to you. What is gratification? Gratification means you like the result of what is happening. Now, what is instant and what is delayed gratification? Instant gratification means you have a sudden urge, or you can say a sudden desire to attain something right away. You want something and you want it right away. You want the results to come up there and then. You want your actions to bear fruits there and then. That is what we mean by instant gratification. Now, you would have now understood what is delayed gratification. It means that you are okay even if the results do not occur there and then. And if you see the results after a certain number of maybe days or months or years, you're completely fine with it. Now, both these types have their advantages and disadvantages, but let me tell you, why am I then asking you to avoid the urge of instant gratification if I am only saying that it has its own benefits? I'll come to that. But before I come to that, let me give you a few examples of instant gratification. For example, you are on a diet and someone presents a food in front of you which you know is not healthy for you. We know it very much inside our hearts that we should not consume that food because it goes against our dieting principle, yet we have it. Why? Or let's say we are possessing a car already but we want to change our car. Okay, and to possess a new car or to buy a new car of our own choice, we'll have to take a loan. We go for the loan instead of waiting for us to save enough amount of money to go for that car. We go for it right away and we take a loan which we'll have to bear for the next 5 years or 7 years or so. Why? Let me give you another example. In the morning, we set up alarm for every morning, yet we put in snoozes don't know how many number of times before we get up. We know the advantages of getting up early in the morning, just like we knew the disadvantage of taking a loan in my previous example, or just like we knew the disadvantage of eating up that dish which is not healthy, yet we put our alarm on snooze and we go to sleep and we end up getting up late, and then we get frustrated the entire day and we promise to ourselves from tomorrow definitely I'll get up early. How many of you know this feeling or have experienced it? Most of us have. Why? Because this is how human behavior is. This is how human beings act when they are put into difficult situations, or you may call it, those are not actually difficult situations, but they take the solution which makes the situation difficult. Yes, I mean, they don't take the way which would make the situation easier in the longer run, but yes, it does make the situation easier in the short term, hence, they take that decision at that point of time. So, I hope you would be understanding where this instant gratification is, coming up from and what's the root cause of it. Why do human beings, instead of knowing, I mean, we know it, We know it inside our hearts that what is the best decision to be taken at that point of time. We know it that in the longer run, it is healthy food that will sustain us. We know it that in the longer run, loan is something that we should definitely avoid as much as possible, unless and until it's for some situation which is unavoidable. The car was avoidable at that point of time, or the Apple iPhone is avoidable at this time if you do not possess enough money to do it, because you can use it somewhere else. I'm not asking you to defer things which you really need, but yes, deferring short term pleasures to attain long term pleasures is definitely the way to go. And hence, the next thing I'm coming up to is the basic reason why people behave in a certain way, even after knowing that that is not the right way to go, even after knowing that in order to attain their long term goals, they'll have to give up to the temptation of the short term desires. They would have to give up the instant urge to get results immediately, because the wiser decision is waiting for the long term goals to get accomplished by losing onto this urge. Yet, why do people behave in a certain way is this can be best described through a principle which is the pain and pleasure theory. Few of you would have heard of it. It's a very deep theory. I'll probably get into it very deeply into one of my other videos. But for now, to explain it in very brief is, and I'll only explain the point pertaining to instant gratification, that is, that human beings have a tendency to give on to short term pleasure to avoid the long term pain. Yes, if you know that you need to exercise daily in order to attain a healthier body, or you need to diet right, and there comes a unhealthy diet in front of you and you go for it, or you avoid the gym, why do you do that? Because going to the gym means going through a short term pain, whereas you know that if you go to the gym and you attain a healthy body, it will benefit you in the long term. But the short term pleasure of avoiding that particular gym, or the short term pain of going to the gym, is too high. Hence, you go in for the short term pleasure of not going into the gym and avoid the long term pleasure of attaining a healthy body, which set you out on that. So, the pain and pleasure theory revolves all around short term pain and short term pleasure versus the long term pain and the long term pleasure. Yes. As I said, I'll go into it deeper into another video, but staying on it is that a person, why does he go in for instant gratification? The main reason, listen it very carefully, is that the person wants to avoid the short term pain or get short term pleasure instead of going in for long term pleasure, or getting the short term or the long term pain results. Yes, that's what the pain and pleasure theory revolves around. Now, let me tell you a few reasons why, besides the pain and pleasure theory, what are the other reasons that affect a person and why he is not able to wait in for the desired results at a later period of time is difficulty to envision the future self. What that means is that when you've set yourself out on a mission, or you've set long term goals for yourself, it becomes very difficult at times to look into the future self. We have, set ourselves on a goal to lose 15 kgs within a year, but it's very difficult for us to envision us minus 15 kgs today itself. Hence, that leads to low motivation to going towards that. Or we have set ourselves a goal of making 1 lakh rupees a month. Right now, let's say we are making 50,000 a month, and we have set ourselves that within a year I'll be making 1 lakh, but we are not able to envision ourselves making that, and that leads to low motivation. Hence, we are not able to wait in for the results to come up, and hence we lose onto our goals and we get disoriented within the way. That's one very important factor that leads people into quitting onto their long term goals. On the contrary, what you can do to avoid this particular thing from happening is, Break your long term goals into short term goals which you can envision, or which you can see in your eyes very clearly. For example, you're not able to see yourself minus 15 kgs, but to see yourself from going from 75 kgs to 73 kgs is somewhat achievable, and you know that you would be able to do it within a month by cutting down your calories and by bringing in more fruits and vegetables into your diet, or by quitting on to sugar for some time. 2 kgs is something you know you can lose. So why do you want to see 15 kgs being lost in 12 months when you can see 2 kgs being lost in a month? So break down your long term goals into short term goals which you are able to see. As much as you can, your mind can register at this point of time is good for you, because that would make you believe in the goal that you've said and would avoid you from the temptation of getting into the short term pleasure. And because instead of thinking that who can lose 15 kgs in 12 months, it's okay, leave it. No, you can. Just break it down. Another reason which causes people to give in to the short term pleasure is the mood swings, or their temperament, or you can say the impulsive behavior which suddenly kicks in. So, for example, let's say you're into an argument with a person. So, you know that right now it's very discomfortable to listen to the other person when your mouth is, your mind is urging you to speak bad words, and you give in to your mood. You give in to that impatience and you just speak it out, because it's very much pleasurable to speak your mind out when you yourself know that it would not give you any results. It would not be good for you or the person you're fighting out with. Still, to avoid the pain or the discomfort that you're getting right now from getting into the argument, you just give into it. Whereas you know that the consequences of it would be very bad, and it would lead you to eventually a short term or a long term pain by giving into your short term pleasure of lashing out at the other person. So it becomes very important for you to believe that yes, things would become better, and I don't have to give in to that instant gratification feeling at that point of time. How otherwise can you avoid your this thing pleasure from coming into? So one way I've told you, which is very much effective, is to break down your long term goals into short term goals which you know are achievable and which you are able to envision. The other way you can use it out, you can implement it in your real life, is that empathize with your future self. So whenever we've put ourselves onto some goal, maybe it can be losing weight, or it can be attaining a better relationship with somebody, or it can be buying onto a new house, it can be anything, but or it can be getting a better lifestyle in the future. Now the thing is that you need to, once you're able to see into a little bit of your future self, you need to empathize with it. How you can do it is that right now, if you get that urge of snacking onto something unhealthy rather than taking a fruit when you're hungry, ask yourself that how will my future self feel if I go into this? Ask your future self, will you feel good if I eat this snack right now? Will ask your future lifestyle that you are about to see, that will you feel good if I give into this desire of mine right now? I'm sure you know what your future self would give you an answer. And you need to take that thing into your mind very carefully, and you need to care for your future self, because you put yourself onto some long term goal because you wanted to attain it. So, why to quit it in between? Why not think that no, my future self would feel so bad if I do this right now? Then you won't go for it. Second great advice from me to you, believe it guys, if you are able to talk to your future self, and if you're able to empathize with your future self, you would not take bad decisions for yourself or for other people today. So two ways I've already told you. What is the third way? The third way to attain a more abundant mindset, And the third way to avoid instant gratification is that you need to pre-commit to yourself and you need to take important decisions right away. Commitment goes a long way. If you are committed to what you are saying, it would mean that later on, when you would want to avoid that feeling, you would remember the commitment you made to yourself or the decision you took in the moment when your mind was working clearly. Because the decision that you're making for yourself or the people around you, you know that it would be the best. But the decision that you make at that moment when it's like, your mind is not working clearly and you've been put into a situation where it's very natural for you to give on to the desire, that's not a decision that would help you out. It is this decision or this commitment that you would make to your goal today while you're making it, that you need to stick on to. So just these three simple rules can help you avoid instant gratification and go in for delayed gratification, because you know that the results of working onto something long term always help. And to give in to your desires, which are not going to help you at this point of time, mean that you're doing wrong to your future self, and that's not justified. Your future self deserves more and it should get more, honestly. However, as I said, instant gratification can also help, but only in a few cases. Like if you are taking some decisions that have to be quick and which need to be taken at that instant only, take it. But keep in mind that it should not affect your future self and it should not stop you from attaining your goals. And it should be kept in mind that, you, again, as I said, empathize with your future self. So you should be knowing that your future self will not feel bad if you take this decision at this point of time. So if you feel that, yes, I'm not doing injustice to my long term goals and I'm not delving into it only for the short term pleasure of it, then you can go in for instant gratification. But in most cases, it works on the contrary. So, and it's only you who will take the decisions for yourself. So don't, be dishonest to your own self, and don't give on to the short term pleasures, and devoid your future self of the kind of, the body or the kind of mind it very well deserves from you. So because it's your body, it's your mind, and you have to live with your body only. You would not be able to change your body, at least in this life. So take care of yourself and take care of your body, your health, your mind, your mental peace, and the people around you. And that's all I wanted to talk to you about today. I'll see you all guys very soon in my next video. Till then, all the best, keep safe, bye bye.